Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. And this is an NXT wrestling special event in your house takeover podcast. We have Lit Nick, we have the Go Home Heat Kid Ray, we have me KP, and let's get right into it. Short but sweet pay-per-view. Yep. 222 was the amount of time it took to do this thing. Started early, ended early. It was spectacular. The first match starts off with Shotzi, Tegan, Mia Yim against Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Candice LeRae. It was a very good opener. It showcased what NXT is trying to sell you as the best division in all of pro wrestling, their women's division. And it is so refreshing for them to just tell you that that is the best division in all of wrestling and not bother to mention that it's a women's division. They just do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like they don't need to really like sell you on it. Like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
As soon as you see them work and as soon as you see their unique characters and styles, as we'll see in the main event, that's all you really need. You don't need to say words. It's like sit down and watch, and then that'll do.
Absolutely.
But before we talk about the match, though, let's just say real quick, shout out to, first of all, just the entire set design for this NXT in your house, looking exactly like the classic pay-per-views. And I really want this to be a regular thing where like that just becomes a recurring like NXT pay-per-view if the regular WWE isn't going to use it anymore, because it's just a fun-looking set. And it's so fresh and new. I like it. I love it.
And it absolutely gives you a moment in time feel. Does that make sense? Like, you know, this set came from the 90s. This set came from before WWE was in competition with other companies to try to look better and fancier and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's nostalgic, but it's nostalgic enough that it isn't like overbearing, and to the point where, because everything has gone so far to be like new, unique, edgy, blah blah. To see something like in your house, it sticks out like a sore thumb in the best way possible.
Absolutely, like any kind of throwback should be, or my wardrobe. You wind up. Hey, what are you talking about? You wind up getting
out to sleeveless hoodies.
Sleeveless hoodies. You wind up with fantastic wrestling, and you showcase Gonzalez as this force to be reckoned with down the road. You showcase the partnership, although it does go awry late. Mia Yim and Candice LeRae fight off into the sunset to be seen later in the evening, which tells us this isn't over yet between the two of them. And then you have Shotzi and Tegan work together in a way that allows them to get the win and go over. And I thought it was well done. I was not impressed with Tegan Knox the first few times I'd seen her, but she was fresh off of a knee injury. And I think that matters, because I believe she's starting to get her legs under her, pun kind of sort of intended. And she's looking better and better every time she gets out there. I love Shotzi, and all these girls just need to work, and they get that opportunity on this program. They get it every week. 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these girls get to work, and they get to work 5-minute matches, 7-minute matches, 10-minute matches, and they all get to be a part of a program, which is really cool to see. Ray, you got anything?
No, not really. No.
Okay, well,
I do have a question.
Yes.
From the back. Do you think when, like, right before she performs nowadays, they tell her to break a leg, or is that insensitive? What do we think?
I don't think they ever mention any injuries to her at all.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean, though? I mean, I think they're all... She has struggled so hard to be in her spot. And I get what you're saying, and it's funny. It is funny, but it just, their heart goes out to her.
Though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
She's coming around. Now, then we move into that to Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. And this was really well done. Finn's great. Priest is very good. Priest dominates early, which a bigger man usually should. He beats up Finn. They get out of the ring. After a while, you wind up where Finn, of course, turns the tide because that's what Prince Balor does. And then Priest winds up going for the Razor's Edge after he'd already done a spot where he planted Finn's back into the ring apron. He was going to utilize those steps that he stood on to do that, to do it again from inside the ring. He was going to do a Razor's Edge, actually, the old Scott Hall move, Razor Ramon move. And Finn sneaks out, elbow. Damian takes a tough bump onto those stairs. And then, of course, the tide has turned, and eventually we get the he slams him into the coup de grace. Then he winds up with the coup de grace to his back as he stumbles into the ring, and then he gets a second coup de grace to the chest, and that winds up being your winner. 1, 2, 3. Finn goes over, and I think that Damian looked good here. He's a cheater anyway because he's a bad guy, so it's fine. You can move him into something else. He will need to probably win the next program he's in. And what did you think about this?
I think that the match was just a really good, just straight up slugfest. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't about the pretty move. It's all about like seeing how hard someone can get hit. When Damian smacked against that metal steps, I legitimately thought he broke his back for like a split second because of that loud crack that it made.
He skidded off of him. You know, sometimes somebody will hit and they'll kind of bounce up, and you're like, "Oh, that was bad," but maybe not as. No, he skidded off the.
Yeah, it's like, Finn was like skipping stones.
Yeah.
Damian Priest's body.
All right, piggybacking. We had some classic commercials here and there. Now, Ray, you liked it?
Yeah, I liked the match. I thought it was.
Okay. We'll move on to more things you're more into, I'm sure. We had a couple of classic throwback commercials. They did the one about the lifting weight style stuff with Adam Cole, and then you did, which is kind of funny because he's one of the smaller guys on the show. And then you had the ice cream commercials time and again, and then later on you'll have the trying to sell T-shirts, call the 1-900 number, and then he finds out 900 isn't a thing. And he actually makes the same wardrobe joke that I made earlier, which is not to the success ratio that I made the joke, but the same joke all the same. Gargano versus Keith Lee is next. I know that Johnny's one of your guys, Litnick. What did you think about this?
Well, I mean, you forget, not only is Johnny one of my guys, so is Keith Lee. I've been in as soon as Keith Lee showed up in NXT, I was like instant fave.
Yeah.
Instant fave. First of all, shout out to Keith Lee's wardrobe. You know, respectful of that Black Lives Matter, both on the shorts and on the jacket. He was all like in the know and make sure we all remember these important times and important things. But also just the match itself to go on around to that. I don't know. I really liked it. Surprise, two of my faves put on a match, and I enjoy it. But I don't know. The story was very fun. Where like even though he's the big guy, somehow he's a little bit of the underdog throughout the match.
Well,
because you're just waiting for Johnny to pull out the key. You're waiting for the moment for him to, because he's being so clever and slipping away at every other time. It's like it's like a game of whack-a-mole where you just can't hit the freaking thing.
Right, and they did a good job in the last episode of giving Keith a hand injury and an eye injury, so that once every time Keith got both his hands on Johnny, he could pull on a thumb or grab his middle finger and get free. And that was not an equalizer, but it gave him opportunities to kick the can down the road and have a shot at doing something once Lee were to tire. And then once he was able to once Gargano's able to utilize the key a little bit, now all of a sudden he's having trouble seeing and he's having trouble with a hand, and all that kind of sort of matters. But Lee took.
Yes, he still keeps on kicking out. I noticed there was something similar to like what Drew has been doing in recent matches, where like you would think like it's all over, but somehow through a miracle he just boom arm up, and it's believable.
And they are. Go ahead.
I don't know why Drew and Keith can get away with it, but other people can't. Maybe it's because of their size or demeanor. But like as soon as you see that like shoulder went up, I popped a little bit, like yeah.
Well, not only that, but Keith Lee, whether he likes it or not, and I'm sure he does like it, looks like the Thing or the Hulk. And so when he does keep coming, when he isn't willing to quit, when he gets kicked in the head and and he gets kicked in the head, and he's able to roll a shoulder to be up. Not kick out, roll a shoulder. You know what I mean? He did kick out twice, but then once he's able to get the sit down power bomb, or the what's the term?
Spirit bomb.
The spirit bomb. He's able to get a little bit of distance, and then once he's able to get another one, and he did it 3 times. He didn't have to do it 3 times. That dude was done after 2, but he gave him another one for the thing, and he retains the belt. And I thought this was fantastic. Did you?
100% agree. 100%.
Ray?
Me too.
You did think it was fantastic?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith was Johnny is very, very good. And they took their time to figure out how they could make this work and make it believable. And Keith, big picture, Keith being able to sell to a guy, he's not going to face a lot of guys in the WWE as diminutive as Gargano. And if he can sell for that guy, if he can do a flip here and there for him and grab him and manhandle him in a way that allows him to roll over and be at the disadvantage, if he can do that with him, he's going to be able to really do that as he works with larger people. You know what I mean? And he's going to... I remember, Ray, you turned me on to him long before NXT. You were like, you got to see this guy. He's amazing.
Keith?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. And, okay, so we're going to move on to... we are going to move on to what people thought might have been the main event of the evening, but it was not the main event of the evening.
I was confused that this was not the main event, but, all right.
Well, I think that is...
we'll
was
talk about the main event when we get to it.
Right. What was the thing that Morrow said, though? Morrow said the most competitive division in wrestling, or in
WWE and
right.
sports entertainment.
And he implied in all of wrestling is his women's division. So that's your main event, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It makes sense in that way.
Right. And so they have this match where they park a bunch of cars around a ring outside. It's on what looks to be some form of a movie set.
It was like the end of Rocky V.
Yes, it was. My ring's outside. And Adam Cole is waiting for him, and he pops his mouth off. Dream shows up in a Lamborghini. And
dressed up like Negan from The Walking Dead.
Yes, he is. And then Cole challenges him to drop the bat. He says, anything for you, baby. And it's on. Cole plays the cowardice champion very well. Every time things go south, he runs. Again, you're a heel. You're kicking this can down the road, because if you can extend it, something can go your way. And he knows he's got help on the way, which he does wind up with help on the way, because as he's fairly unconscious-ish on a car with Dream climbing a ladder, his crew shows up, and they put Dream at a disadvantage, but that doesn't really matter, because Dream winds up throwing Cole back onto the car, and Cole takes a tough spot where he destroys the windshield of the car, making you think he's driving away. Then they jump Velveteen full bore. At that point, you think Velveteen's probably got it, because Loomis comes out and puts both Roddy Strong and Bobby Fish in his car and drives off with them. And you think, okay, he's got it. And then, of course, Dream hits a finish. We think it might be over on a pile of chairs that they've thrown into the ring. And it's not over. We get the kick out. Dream starts to run his mouth a little bit. You get the uppercut to the chimes, the obligatory heel shot to the balls. That turns into Panama City Sunrise, a vicious one onto the chairs in a 1-2-3, and still. What did you think about this, Ray?
I thought it was everything it needed to be.
Right. You okay with the result?
I think we all know kind of why this happened, saying that there is another company with all of Adam Cole's friends, and
and his contract's up in 2 weeks, so he might need to keep the belt for a little bit longer. So, is that what you're saying? Dude.
Thank you, Cody.
Thank
you, Cody.
All right.
When it ended, he started clapping that on me. Huh? That was good, though. That's good. Now, What about you? Were you okay with it all?
I'm half and half with it. I think that the match itself was a really fun time, and it's just a good, fun little match. You know,
Right.
it does what it needs to do, and it gets the story beats across. My main concern was the fact that Dream didn't win. So where do we go from here? I'm interested to see where we go from here.
Okay.
But I do not know where we go from here. Because Dream, I felt like this was supposed to be like, okay, finally he's going to get his due after the Undisputed Era has been coming after him for so long and long and long. And the thing is, what keeps Adam Cole in power and what's keeping him at the top, it's slowly like the fact that he has the Undisputed Era to constantly like run in and like play fouls or wailing on everybody. It's effective, but it's slowly gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I've seen this. When are any of the babyfaces going to like wise up and get themselves a group to do something about the rest? You
Right.
know? I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm like, this is ridiculous at this point.
Right. I have a theory on that, and one, I think the things that happened with Dream outside of pro wrestling, and even though nothing's come from the allegations, and if you want to look all that up, you can Google Dream allegation, Velveteen Dream allegations. You can find all that out. I think he was about to be the champ. All that happened. We have heard nothing, so there's no reason to believe any of that was true. Although maybe we don't know, right? That's the thing, is nobody knows, right, what's going on. WWE's heard something, but they can't afford right now to put a belt on him and then find out in a month they were wrong. You know, and so I think that happened, and I think if I get it, you know what I mean. Now, I think if they believed he was in the wrong, I believe he would not be in the company at all, right? So I think they think he's okay. So I would think that maybe he goes away for a couple of weeks, and then he shows up on Raw. That's my guess.
He has yet to get the Lars Sullivan treatment, so, you know.
Correct.
I think, yes.
Correct. And so that's my guess. That's my guess on all of that. Now, the other thing is, I believe I know who's getting fast-tracked to the title, and we will get to that in a moment. Because this is what I think the fast-track comes into play. Karrion Kross has the extraordinary... Now, I think me and you differ on this. You don't like Karrion Kross's entrance, Ray.
Killer Kross's entrance.
Karrion?
I was going to call him Killer Kross. But, it's way too over the top for it to be a big star. Like, I get it, and I know people are going to say, oh, but The Undertaker. But The Undertaker was kind of a product of its time. Killian is way dated by now.
Really? Okay. I think the opposite. That's fine.
I don't care. It's hype. For me, it's hype.
But that's the whole point, though, right? Everybody looks at things and sees something different. Now, I like the intro. I think it's a big intro. He comes out. He's got it. The Ciampa just walks out there ready to fight. And they have, Karrion has his way with him for a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry that I'm going back to the end.
No, go ahead.
But I think what kills it for me is Scarlett Bordeaux mouthing the
lip
syncing. The end is near. That I think that, and also, yeah, it's just that, dude.
You just don't like the fact that she's lip syncing,
dude.
Everything else could be the same, and if she was just dancing around him, it'd be fine.
It'd be fine. It's just the lip syncing is just.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Oddly enough, I understand the reasoning with that, because there's sometimes when I hear someone like mouth something in the middle of an entrance, I'm like, "You shut up." But Scarlett, I'll like get away with it, but I can understand completely where you're coming from.
Right now, we getting into the match. Now, he is brutal to Ciampa early, and then Ciampa swings the tide a little bit with a couple of with some vicious knees to the head, and you think, well, maybe Kross is in trouble, and then he stumbles into the ring, and he gets hit with that DDT that Ciampa's won championships with from the Randy Orton style DDT from outside the ring to inside of it. Then he hits him with another knee, and Cameron, it's not like he walks through it, but he gets through it kind of systematically, and as Ciampa's going for his finisher, which is the what? Ciampa's finisher?
I mean, he threw an F.
Fairy tale ending?
The fairy tale ending.
Ciampa. Okay.
Yeah, Ciampa's getting him for the fairy tale ending. That's when it gets countered. He puts him into what is an F5, and he kind of flips him almost into a helicopter version of it. Sort of like what Wardlow does, but with some concern for how they land. And and Ciampa lands, boom, and then he puts his finisher on him. He puts him in the cross jacket and puts him to sleep. And I thought he looked very strong. I thought it went well. What's up, buddy? You laughing?
I just realized that the Killer Cross is burying Brock Lesnar's finisher. Like, I'm going to use it as a setup.
Yes.
That's a joke, but, like,
yes.
I just think that's cool. The fact he's like, that F5 isn't even my finisher. He's pulling a Billy Mays, but wait, there's more.
Right.
I'm going to kill you. I love that.
Right. And that's why I think that what they've decided, and this may have more to do with the thing, if they've decided there's nothing really going on with Velveteen, this may have been where they decided, you know what, we're going to fast track this dude to the title. We don't need him to be in situations where he's going to lose. We want to put the belt on him and have him be that guy in this company because he can talk. Scarlett has an amazing look. She has that venomous character outside of the ring with him. I feel like it works, and I could totally see him walking through Adam Cole to win that title. You know what I mean? And I feel
and
like
now we have a monster at the top of the mountain.
Right. And then also, if once that runs its course, you can take Keith Lee and remove Cross from there and then move Cross on up. Because I think at some point, Cross, with that entrance, with what they've put into the presentation of Scarlett and the entrance and him and giving him these, you can't tell me they don't want him on Friday nights.
I am terrified about that aspect, but yes.
He just feels like, dude, you put him on the same show with The Fiend?
Oh, Lord.
Come on. You know what I mean?
Spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah, they're going to... Yeah, but anyway, we get that over with because he gets the win there. And then we get to our main event of the evening. And boy, oh boy, Io Shirai, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley. You have what I consider two of the top wrestlers, whether they are male or female in the world, wrestling in this match. And Rhea Ripley, who I believe will be in one of those slots within the next year. And
like I said, someone should call Full Sail a farm because they're begotten 3 goats in the ring. 3 goats.
What did you think about this match?
It was great. Like the pacing was very fast. There was always like no one was really on top of it for too long, and it was always like jumping. The momentum kept going and going and going and going and going. And it was just a really fun story where you're seeing all 3 of them like showing the top of their talent, like so far, like how good they are, and just throwing each other into everything. Like even something as simple as the chops from Charlotte Flair. Just every time she smacked Rhea, it hurt me in Savannah, Georgia.
Yes.
That's how painful it was.
Perfect. And dude, everything Rhea does has bad intentions on it. Every move she has in her arsenal, every drop kick, every big boot, everything she does. And Charlotte's kind of the same way. And then you have Io, who's diminutive compared to them, but is still able to utilize her surroundings to be formidable. You know what I mean? And it just was done so well. They fought they fought outside. Charlotte threw them both off of the plexiglass a couple of times. They fought their way across the ring over to the other side, and then she gets rid, because the story here is Rhea has a problem with Io going back further than Charlotte. She has a problem with Charlotte that is recent. And so the story you're kind of sort of telling in the match is Rhea versus Charlotte, Rhea versus Ia, and it just works because Charlotte.
I also think there's another small story in there, which is Io also versus Rhea. And I wouldn't say like Io versus Charlotte because while there is a thing there, I think Io's just like trying to, like she's been trying and vying so hard for respect and getting her just dues, because that's what I kept hearing Moro talk about, like always like missed it by that much and all this other stuff. So this is her just trying to like prove to Rhea, or just prove to the NXT universe by beating Rhea specifically. Like,
and that's exactly where I was going, Nick, and I think you hit it on the head. No. I'm glad you said that, because that means I didn't make it up. Somebody else saw it too. And so then you have Charlotte and them fight their way over to, and again, like you said too, the spotlight's not on Shirai, right? The spotlight's on the two that are, you can just look at Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair and know that they were born to fight each other forever. You know, they're two sides of it. They're the same height. They're both strong, powerful. One's got the long blonde hair. One's the rocker. You know what I mean? I mean, it totally has that pretty boy, tough guy feel to it, right? Overwhelmingly athletic on both ends, but a little bit. One's a bruiser. One's just a superhuman. And yet,
Apollo versus Rocky.
If Rocky was tall. But
yes.
But
how dare you?
Oh, but anyway, so then of course as they're fighting and you get focused on them, they fight their way back over in front of the house, and Shirai has climbed to the top of the house and dives upon them, taking them out, and announces her presence into the main event in a way. You know what I mean? All over again. Then you push it back into the ring. Rhea has Charlotte. Ia breaks it up. Charlotte has Rhea. Then as they get rid of Shirai, you have Charlotte putting the figure 8 on Rhea Ripley. The match is over, but Shirai has climbed to the top of the ring. And what happens, Ray?
Io then jumps off the house.
No. She knocks Rhea out so she can't tap.
Oh wait!
Can we talk about that? Io saw what was happening, saw Rhea, said, "No, you're not tapping this time," and knocked her out.
I'm sorry, I was just.
You're good.
For a second, but she did hit her in the back of the head with her knee.
Yes.
Because Rhea was getting.
Hold on, just 1 second. Now, Nick, you're talking about when she jumps in the ring the first time to save her, right? And hits her in the back of the head.
Yes.
Okay. Now he's talking about the second time where she does the what move, Ray?
Oh, the moonsault.
He's talking about the actual finish of the match, and you're right, she hits her square to make sure she doesn't tap out. Then they get rid of her. She gets her into figure 8 again, and we get the moonsault onto her for the 1, 2, 3, and new Io Shirai world champion. But dude, I don't know if you noticed, she hit her flush in the face with her knee.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
I don't know.
At that point, I'm like, she actually got knocked out.
Yeah, I feel like she is in concussion protocol right now. You know what I mean? Which, hey, these things happen, but man, what a great match. Oh my God. Dude, you know what's awesome about all this? As great as that match was, we get a better wrestling match next weekend. I already read it.
We got Io
Edge Orton
is our NXT
Edge
champion.
Orton.
Hallelujah.
Look, how great is this? Io Shirai comes over here and is too great at pro wrestling to be denied and becomes a world champion. And will Rhea Ripley at some point wind up being put on? Of course she will. Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai is going to be their generation Charlotte Flair Asuka. And
probably
we're freaking lucky to have that for the next few years. It'll happen on Wednesday nights for a while, then they'll move one of them up, and as soon as that person starts to lose a bit of their shine, they'll bring the other one up and put them in the ring with them to give them their shine right back, because everybody will remember these two are magic. You know, and we saw it with Asuka and Charlotte on Monday. They're magic. and this is going to be a magical rivalry in pro wrestling, and we're lucky to be a part of it. And congratulations, Shirai, for getting that championship. Anything else you want to say, Nick?
I think that main event we're halfway through the year. It's already one of my favorites of the year. 100%.
Got a shot.
Loved it that much.
Got a shot at being match of the year. It sure does.
I'm sorry, Edge and Orton. I don't know if you'll be able to top this, but all the luck to you.
Undeniable. Edge Orton. Awesome.
Great.
Match.
Great.
Wrestling
I
match.
was gonna say, I think we just saw it.
Yeah.
I think we just saw it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so, Ray, you got anything to add?
Not really.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for checking out our little special edition. We'll probably, if we can, we'll try to do another. As long as the WWE keeps giving us these early nights, we'll keep putting out early reviews. And thank you so much. This has been a Go Home Heat production, copyright 2020. Nick.